Hi, I'm Robert Tolby, and today we're talking about Kanye West, a music artist who has, in recent times, gone off the deep end mental health-wise. Although I will briefly summarize the situation, this video will not be a breakdown of every last thing that he has done. Other people have done that already. I just want to voice my opinion on the situation and express my concerns as someone who has bipolar disorder, a condition Kanye West is diagnosed with that might be contributing to some of his recent behavior. If you haven't heard, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's divorce has spiraled out of control. Kanye West has repeatedly made threatening posts directed towards Kim Kardashian's boyfriend Pete Davidson. In addition, he has made unwanted romantic advances towards Kim Kardashian that many have called out as manipulative behavior. He has made multiple Instagram posts that indicate, at least to me, that his mental state is deteriorating. Now, I'm not a mental health professional, but looking at his social media feed is like looking into a mirror. In his recent posts, I see a reflection of myself in the moments before I had a severe mixed episode with psychosis that landed me in the psych ward. I know Kanye has gone on record saying he has experienced psychosis and paranoia in the past, and that only amplifies my uneasy feelings about the situation. I want to go through two of his recent posts on Instagram that stand out to me and try to explain what I find so concerning about them. While visiting with his daughter a week ago, Kanye snapped this picture of her backpack with 3 pins on it. One of Kim Kardashian, one of himself, and one of an alien. He posted this image on Instagram with a caption implying his family is godless and that only he can rescue them as he is the priest of his home, whatever that means. In the most literal sense possible, this post appears delusional. When I say delusional, I mean it is characteristic of a delusion as defined by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, which defines a delusion as a false belief based on incorrect inference about external reality that is firmly sustained despite what almost everyone else believes, and despite what constitutes incontrovertible and obvious proof or evidence to the contrary. Because Kanye's belief that his family is godless and needs rescuing is entirely unsubstantiated by the presence of these 3 pins on his daughter's backpack, this post indicates to me that his mind is grasping at straws and ascribing significance to otherwise insignificant things to support his vision of reality, which is beginning to appear entirely contrary to what is actually happening around him. As to what his vision of reality is exactly, I have no knowledge of that, but I am familiar with the kind of mental state that might exhibit such delusions. In the moments leading into my psychotic bipolar episode, I began to lose touch with reality. I drew wild conclusions from insignificant things. For example, if a cyclist rode past my house, I would conclude that they were put there by the government to spy on me. And if that sounds crazy, this was before I went absolutely coconuts and had to be carted off to the psych ward. Although Kanye appears out of his mind right now, I'm worried that this might just be the relative calm before the storm. Take a look at his later posts with sketches resembling flying saucers accompanied by seemingly random inscriptions, such as the words Hilton Doubletree and 3 o'clock. It's captioned James is our leader, as in the artist James Turrell, whom Kanye has a fascination with. This post feels like a window into his mental state, a mental state where a flying saucer, a random hotel and resort, and 3 o'clock have the utmost significance. One can only begin to try and decipher this. Perhaps the extraterrestrial imagery is related to his thoughts about the alien pin on North's backpack, but I cannot say. Now, Kanye is an artist, and many people would chalk this post up to artistic brilliance, and that anyone who doesn't understand it simply does not know art. While I admit that I'm nowhere near as well-versed in art as Kanye West, I'm rather well-versed in the doodles of someone who is seriously mentally ill. I wish I could find the journal I kept in the days before I was hospitalized, because if I compared my journal side by side with Kanye's Instagram post, you would see just how similar they are. When interpreting Kanye's actions, people often confuse the products of his genius with the symptoms of his mental health issues. And I understand that to a degree because sometimes his actions are a product of both. However, bipolar disorder is a sickness and not some kind of artistic superpower. The creative ideas you get during mania never become realities because productivity comes to a standstill and you can't focus on anything for more than 10 seconds without leaping to a new thought. This is why I suspect Kanye's recent albums have taken so long to come to fruition. Despite the fact that Kanye is clearly experiencing some serious mental health problems, there are a lot of people who just don't understand what's going on. There are many people who attribute this behavior to just being a jerk. Still others say that he doesn't even have bipolar disorder, despite the fact that he was professionally diagnosed with it, and that he's just a controlling and manipulative narcissist. I think people are oversimplifying things. You can be a narcissistic jerk and be bipolar at the same time. In my opinion, what's going on here is that Kanye's ego has gone unchecked for a very long time, and he's pushed anyone out of his life who could take him down a notch. His mental health issues appear to have gone untreated throughout this same period of time. What I believe is happening is that his bipolar disorder is amplifying all his worst qualities. His mood swings, anger, aggression, agitation, those are all symptoms of bipolar disorder. And the fact that he can be kind of an irritable and rude guy when he's somewhat lucid just adds to that. Now, is Kanye fully culpable for the threatening and manipulative behavior towards his ex-wife and her boyfriend in recent weeks? Yes. Even though his mental health issues probably affected his behavior, which is something I firmly believe. There is some debate as to whether his bipolar disorder has actually had any bearing on his actions. I have seen both a psychologist and a psychiatrist comment on the situation and say that his bipolar disorder has not affected his recent behavior, but, gentlemen, would you bet your career on the fact that this guy is making these decisions in a completely lucid state of mind? I would think not. While I don't think Kanye is completely out of it at the moment, and certainly has the ability to rein himself in a bit more, I don't think he is fully mentally living on the same planet as we are. Now, if his mental state deteriorates any further, I have a hot take beyond just mental illness is an explanation and not an excuse. I hate that phrase, because when it comes to some of his actions, I would actually say that his mental illness does, in fact, excuse his behavior to an extent. People like to blame him for making insane and inflammatory statements such as slavery is a choice and act as if he made those statements out of malice, as if a statement made in such a delusional state reflects on his true character at all. Those statements are a direct result of his disordered thinking, and you have to consider that when trying to hold him accountable for them. Kanye saying stupid and false things when he is in a severe bipolar episode is akin to a person with epilepsy striking someone in the face with their flailing arm during a seizure. Kanye is no more responsible than this hypothetical person with epilepsy would be for the harm they caused because of the medical state they were in. There is another factor here, and that is Kanye is clearly not seeking sufficient treatment for his disorder, despite the fact that as a billionaire, he has access to some of the best psychiatrists in the world. Because of this, we shouldn't let him entirely off the hook. Let's say that this hypothetical person with epilepsy chose not to take their medication that morning. Then you would definitely put at least some of the blame on them for hitting someone. But I feel like Kanye is getting blamed more than he should be for things that he has done in states where he, at those moments, was just not mentally present. So why isn't Kanye seeking help? Well, bipolar disorder is a little different from epilepsy. Many people with bipolar disorder actually like being manic. They chase the feeling and go off their meds on purpose. This might be the case in Kanye's situation. There is another possible factor here that many journalists, YouTubers, and mental health professionals have pointed to as another reason why Kanye West might not be seeking treatment. These commentators point to stigma within the Black community associated with mental illness and seeking treatment for it. In my opinion, there is yet another reason why Kanye might be more reluctant to seek treatment. And not to generalize here, but he is a man. Men are told not to complain, to tough it out, and because of this, a lot of guys don't go to the doctor for anything. I know some guys whose foot could be turning green and falling off, and they would just ignore it. So what is going to happen in this situation? I can't predict the future, but in regards to Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson, they will undoubtedly be dealing with countless more threats and manipulative actions perpetrated by Kanye. And that is not great, to say the least, but I have hope that they will probably be fine. They have security, they have lawyers and legal training, and they have therapists to help them deal with the stressful situation that they're facing right now. Kanye is not making their life easy, to say the least, and I feel really bad for them. But they appear to have the mental fortitude to get through this. As for Kanye, I have no idea what's going to happen to him. There appears to be no one in his life to help him, and because he clearly cannot help himself, he will only deteriorate further. People express a lot of concern for Kim and Pete, which I understand. I'm concerned as well, but I at least have hope that they will get through this. I can't say the same about Kanye. Beyond wreaking havoc on Kim and Pete's life, Kanye's behavior is also not setting a very good example for his fan base, and some of whom might be suffering from similar mental health issues. Just observing the comment section under his Instagram posts makes me uncomfortable. There are people idolizing him and validating his behavior. As a public figure, he has an additional responsibility beyond just helping himself. He has to be somewhat of a good influence, which he is not at the moment. His fans are acting in a sexist manner towards Kim Kardashian, and he is encouraging them to harass Pete Davidson, which is not okay in the slightest. I think it's dangerous for someone in this state to have a platform to broadcast their illness to the world. But no one is there to take away his phone, and he's a grown adult, so it's really hard to stop him. The only person right now who can help Kanye is Kanye himself, and the first thing he needs to do is take his meds. Seriously, I'm not joking. Bipolar disorder is most effectively treated not just with therapy, but with medication. To keep myself out of the hospital, I'm on a strict regimen of atypical antipsychotics and mood stabilizers. I can't imagine what my life would look like now if I went off those medications. When watching this Kanye West situation unfold, I feel it is important to remember that for every person who has access to treatment, there's someone on the street in a manic state with no healthcare and no support systems to help them recover. Kanye's situation has drawn a lot of attention to just what little our healthcare system can do for adults with mental health issues if no one is there to support them, even when that adult is extremely rich. This situation opens a door to an extensive discussion about that, as well as a discussion about the millions of people like Kim and Pete who might be in a similar situation, but have to deal with their ex without having millions of dollars at their disposal. Anyways, I'm Robert Tolpe, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And for all access patrons and above, there will be a companion mini video discussing the things I couldn't say in this video about mental illness, celebrities, and wild theories that only further stigmatize mental health issues. Bye bye!